I have no problems with the first head sculpt because it's different from the other Deadpool figures that I got. The cheeky head sculpt, which is supposed to be the distinct head sculpt for this figure, is missing white paint on the left eye. The exposed flesh feels unfinished. I appreciate the sculpted details, but it feels like they lack paint in certain areas, especially the gums of his teeth. But from afar, you won't notice this. It's just that I'm hyper zooming the figure. There are several red dots to highlight the sculpted details of his broken skin. I am true when I say I like how Hasbro sculpted the stretch marks of his costume on his chest. I also appreciated that Hasbro sculpted costume details like this line separating the reds from the black, but there are some paint smudges. I like that there is a separate forearm guard plastic. It's not like the old times when Hasbro just paint gloves. This time they actually created a separate piece, but the problem is the peg hole is so deep that when you attach the hand, the forearm guard will hinder the articulation. It is difficult to maximize the hinging forward and back and up and down. In my first review, I skipped heating up Deadpool to loosen his joints. It was not a problem with the upper torso, but it could have been better. The ab crunch was really terrible. I barely can crunch the figure forward and back. Thank you to my main man, Just J Hernandez, for pointing out that it seems the older Deadpool can crunch forward better compared to how I crunch forward the new Maximum Series Deadpool. On the other hand, the Maximum Series Deadpool has a big improvement compared to the older Deadpool, which has difficulty crunching backwards because of the crossbody strap that he has. It also pulls his belt upward, unlike the Maximum Series Deadpool, which can crunch backwards effortlessly. A great range of movements for this new Maximum Series Deadpool. But why is it so difficult for him to crunch forward? The problem is his belt is so busy. There's a lot of stuff attached to it, especially the holster of his gun. There is a ab crunch there similar to the Maximum Series Spider-Man, but I cannot fully maximize it. This belt feels a little bit thick as well and tight on his waist, so when he crunches forward, the exposed gun handle will push him back. The belt was so tight, so I thought that's already a fixed part of his costume. This one is glued on, although these straps are loose. That's a good thing because it won't fall off when you make those spectacular Deadpool poses mid-air. There are some paint smudges which continues on the lines here. His lower calf is armored up with these nice details. It also has a sheath for his small knife. Logically, you would think that the lower cap guards would be symmetrical, the left and the right. But side by side, you can see it's quite different. It feels like the plastic was chipped off on one side and the other one has a little bit more of plastic. Those things do hinder his feet from hinging up. It doesn't hinge up really well, but he does have toe articulation. The katana sheath is the same mold as older Deadpool's, so butterfly joint should not be a problem. He can do a good range of movement using his butterfly joints without any worries. He can move his arms all the way forward easily, although because I did not heat the figure up, there is some small hindrance. The straps don't hinder it, it's just that the figure is a bit tight. Although the katana sheath is a separate piece, you cannot remove it. This is after heating the figure up. So now I can remove the straps, but notice the katana sheath is not removable. It is glued on tight to his back.
I'm Juggernaut!
Deadpool is not Spider-Man, but this is Maximum Series Deadpool, so he should have maximum movement just like Spider-Man. So after a conversation with Just J. Hernandez, I thought of removing the belt. The belt seems to be the problem, so let's remove it. Side by side with Spider-Man, he can now do the classic Spider-Man poses. But it wasn't easy to remove the belt. I had to use a hair blower and heat the figure several times. So that's a lot of heat on one figure. That small detail mattered, and that gave me a big surprise towards the end of this experiment. Later, I will explain more. But for now, Deadpool can crunch forward effortlessly. Maximum Series Deadpool indeed. Just like in the movie Deadpool 2, he can now do this particular pose because there is no belt hindering him from crunching fully forward. Removing the belt was partially a solution to the problem. I just simply compared him to Maximum Series Spider-Man. Spider-Man can crunch forward and backwards effortlessly because there is no belt that can hinder the articulation of his ab crunch. After trying out several poses, I had to return the belt back. And this is the big surprise for me. Deadpool can now crunch forward just like Spider-Man even with his belt on. This was difficult the first time around, but now, after heating the figure up, he can do this. Another thing I noticed is the belt became a little bit looser now. It's not as tight as it was before, probably because of so much heat applied on the figure and the belt. The belt somewhat expands just a little that is enough in order for him to move freely. Thankfully, the heating done and handling was not enough to break this figure. Here is a costume swap that was requested long time ago. This is a costume swap between Shanna and Rogue. You can notice the skin differences that will tell you the costume was indeed swapped. Shanna has a lighter skin, while Rogue's skin is a little bit tan. Moving on to a proper Deadpool comparison. This is the Maximum Series Deadpool versus the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Wave Deadpool. These parts, which are black, are not sculpted on the old one, while the new one has fully sculpted costume details, just in case Deadpool needs to take a pee. He also has this sculpted separate calf guards and he has toe articulation. So it is indeed a full upgrade to the old one. Although the weapons are exactly the same and the katana sheath is the same, this one, it's loose. It's not attached to the back. While Maximum Series Deadpool, the katana sheath is fully glued on. The straps are totally different. The closest match is with the Uncanny X-Force Deadpool. Maximum Series Deadpool sculpted details are different for the mask, although they both have this sculpted line here. The sculpted details on the head sculpt of Blue Deadpool and Uncanny X-Force Deadpool is the same. From the back, that folded part of his mask is sculpted differently. For Uncanny X-Force Deadpool, it's a bit longer compared to Maximum Series Deadpool, which is nice and short. The design of the katana straps looks similar, but there are subtle differences, especially when it comes to the texture of the katana strap and the number of silver details. The belt is different. I thought the gun holster was a reuse repaint, but it is actually not. It's totally different. They look similar, but how the sculpted details are done, it's different. So it's not a repaint of an existing Deadpool that I have. Here is a head swap between the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Wave Deadpool and Maximum Series Deadpool. It seems that using the newer heads shortens the neck of the old figure. The fully masked head of Maximum Series Deadpool on the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Deadpool. The red color of the new Maximum Series Deadpool is quite distinct. You would think that it will be exactly the same as the other Deadpools. Head swap between the Deadpool Legacy Collection Deadpool and the new Maximum Series Deadpool. In terms of costume texture, definitely the MCU figure is better because there is somewhat a basketball texture around his reds. Just for fun, trying out the Pirate Deadpool head. He has a Captain Long Neck type of situation. This can only mean that when you use the new Maximum Series Deadpool head on the Pirate Deadpool body, he will have no neck. Here is the alternate head on the Pirate Deadpool body. Totally no neck at all. You would assume that all of the Maximum Series Deadpool guns will work in every Deadpool, and you're totally right. However, when you try using older Deadpool weapons, for the new Maximum Series Deadpool, some of them won't work. Just like this Las Vegas gun from the Hit Monkey 2-pack. Here is a closer look, but it doesn't really matter because this gun looks very silly. There is no point using those weapons. However, one cool thing that you can do is use the guitar and the unmasked head, which was missing. Here is a head swap between the two Deadpools. Not including a unmasked head for this $50 Maximum Series Deadpool was quite an issue. Hasbro has older molds like this, why not use it? Maybe because Hasbro needs to apply additional tooling? Because this head will sit very high and there's a big gap. It definitely requires Hasbro to do some tooling because when I pulled out the head, the double dumbbell neck peg came off as well. It means the whole of this head is not big enough for the peg. In the hype version of this review, I went through all the 24 accessories and did the size comparison, but I did forget to include his friend Hydra Bob. So here is a head swap between Maximum Series Deadpool and Hydra Bob from the Hasbro Pulse 2-pack with Deadpool. From one partner in crime to another, the current partner of Deadpool in this Maximum series is Doop. I was a bit disappointed in terms of its articulation. I thought he would have a neck swivel just like this X-Babies Wolverine from the Mojo World 4-pack. But this one has at least that articulation for his arms. No elbows though, so it's just a bit underwhelming for me, but the details are excellent. Nicely inkjet printed red eyes with some yellowish eyes. His teeth is well sculpted. The X is just painted on. There are subtle paint shadings of different kinds of greens on his body. Only the top of his head has this somewhat deformity of skin. I don't read enough Doop material to say whether this is comic book accurate. Let me know in the comments below. The results are in for my defective cable. It's just a minor defect that you need to avoid when you pick him up from a shop. Just a recap, the strap on his right side was loose. It doesn't want to attach to the body. So I decided to heat it up in order to pull the plastic forward. But it did deform the plastic. You can see now it's curved right there. That's because that's where my thumb pulled it out. Unlike this one, which is all straight. The plastic also became thinner because of the pressure of pulling it. So it's quite noticeable if you look up close. But if you don't mind looking at it from afar, it's okay. This one did elevate because of the pull. So the plastic was pulled forward, causing this back to rise up. For a final articulation check, he can now crunch backward really well and crunch forward really well. He has an upper torso swivel so loose and it's so good. And now, we are able to get a maximum series Deadpool treatment. He can do that really well now. The gun doesn't hinder it anymore. Probably if you decentered his logo and moved the gun all the way towards the side, it would crunch better. You can see right there, it's not in the center. My final thoughts on the new Hasbro Marvel Legends Maximum Series Deadpool remains unchanged. It is a good Deadpool action figure, especially if you don't have one in your collection. Anyways, the older Deadpools are more expensive than this one. This is Deadpool tax. So, if you don't have a Deadpool, this is a good one to pick up. Whatever makes you happy, it's alright. What would really make me happy is if you check out my Marvel Legends reviews and other reviews. I created a link on the top right corner of your screen. Thank you for watching. I hope you hype this video, like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. I hope to see you in the next one.